The first track I'm going to be breaking down is It Ain't Over. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments as well. So I'll just start off with like a simple melody. And usually I build like a track off of that, like just building up from the melody. I'll just play it through for you. Yeah, what's up Cliff? What's up Tyler? What's up Aaron? What's up Ryan? Glad you're all here. So usually like the drops I'd start here, just like a sort of like a fake build up kind of thing. Show you what I use for that. So I use like Massive as a plugin to that make bass synths. It's just like it's really standard old school. That's it. If I like take all the effects off, you'll hear it without the effects on. It's just really basic, so just like really boosted. I don't know. But I'll put them back on so you can hear it. Disperse is like my favourite tool for this. And I just like put automation on there, just to like, just make it like a bit more beefier. There's like a lot of automation happening for the effects. Yeah, to be honest, I like Massive, but I feel like Serum's just as good. I've just started using Serum, but I'm more used to Massive making all these. Yeah, and usually I'd route like all of this straight to like this, just one chain before the master, and yeah, that's the limit on there. And then the side chain, which is like side chains like everything that needs side chaining, using free code and stuff. And just move on to this bit. Remember, if you have any questions, guys, just ask, because I'm sort of terrible at teaching. You need to turn it up. Let me know in the comments if that sounds better to you guys. Is that loud enough? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was a bit quiet. So that one favourite like effects I like using on vocals is all of this. So I'll just turn it off so you can get a feel for what it sounds like a bit off. Just sounds like really flat to me. So I'll just put an OTT on in, nothing too crazy. And then the chorus, delay, and LP if you want to change it to resonance to it, not too much. Just cut it off a little bit. And Maximus, I use this like an EQ and the limiter. I drop it at like 200, so nothing happening there. And you can just bring this up, down, but not too much. Get about there. That's just how I like get the vocals that stand up really well. So the same with the like intros as well. Just use like Maximus, just to like make it stand out a bit more. Yeah, you deserve it. I usually like drop it down until I can see the sort of the volume dropping, then I just bring it up a little bit, sort of like limit off about -3. So just go to the next bit of it. Remember, if you have any questions, guys, just ask in comments. Yeah, there's a lot happening in this track, it's crazy. Another cool effect I like using as well is just adding like sort of a wide delay on it. Delay on the drum channel. No, there's no delay on the drums at all. Just route the drums straight to the master, and everything else pretty much just goes to like the side chain, just so the drums come through there. And yeah, I usually just put this on so it just sounds a bit more like there's a lot more happening kind of thing. Adam, how does Ozone 3 help? I don't use Ozone. I've used it before, but I just use I just use the imager, just like push it completely to the side. But I don't use any of the other Ozone products. And usually like with the bass, like sub bass, I usually just add like a bit of distortion to it, and then it's like not like just put it on this end, but just turn it down a little bit. Yeah, that's well to the side chain as well. Bear me a sec. Yeah, I usually like, you can cut it off there, but I just use it like that, just to add more beef to it. Just stand up a bit. Just on the master on the track, I just put a limiter. Bring the shooting up a little bit and gain up and down so it sounds good but not too loud. So right there. Alright, Alex just asked a question, how do I usually start a track? One sec. So usually I'll just like start off in probably like favourite key E or F or something, and just sort of like write a melody out. So just like something really simple, something like that, and then just add to it. So and then add some like vocals in the sort of same key, so the same key as E. So put that in, then just add some more like all in the same key, and then just like throw effects in there too. And then yeah, just simply like just build from that melody. So like it's still in the same melody as the intro. And coming up to like the build up, I'll just have it like one flat. For this particular song, just 1 and 2, so typically. And just like structured build up for that. Sometimes I like to just drop it straight into the drop. I like just a little bit of suspense on it, so just you think it's going to drop it, you got that bit there, and then Gabe asked where do I get the vocals from Slice. I do prefer using originals though, but this track I use a Slice code as well. Would you overlook this one? Adam, sorry, what do you mean by that, mate? Could you over the bass modulation, like make it more crazier? I use like automation on the bass, so you can see here I just sort of drawn it in. The automation channels. So like if I want to automate something, I would just, I'll show you. Just go here 1 sec. So yeah, if I wanted to like automate something like this, I just drag that in. And then I just like move these around, the ratios, and then just go to tools, last tweet, and create an automation clip. And you can, that'll just automatically draw that into whatever I set that at. So that'd be at 8. And then you can just like move that around and draw it in. So sort of based. Yeah, it sort of the basses are mainly sort of almost like sine waves. It's just like a lot of effects put on there. So without them on there, it just sounds really good. So basically, you can't even hear it. It's so much boosted. So that's how it sounds with pretty much everything off. I've just put the OTTs on just to make it a little bit louder so you can actually hear it. But that's with all the effects off. That's just for like fading. I use this as well. It's like a little technique. You can put anything into a convolver just to make it sound different. So like, just so it sort of matched the track vocals itself, if that makes sense. And then just the dispersers, which are automated. And then obviously EQing. And then Maximus just to boost up the sound, which is like, looks a bit like that. So, on the master. If that helps, if you've got any more questions, just ask man. And yeah, usually I'll just sort of like, so you can, yeah. I usually watch the bar till it hits 0, and I'll just bring this pre-gain up. Like, probably to about there. But you don't want to like do it too much because then it over distorts the sound and it's just too ridiculously loud. And obviously you don't want to do it too quiet because you won't hear it. So I just have about there. And then just obviously build up everything else with things. 1 second. You separate the sub from the main bass. Yeah, I build like a. I'll show you. So yeah, I cut all my synths at around sort of like 100 to 200. Just give it like a little bit of like mid there, and then I just complement that with the sub bass. And the whole sub bass is just, I just automate it so it matches the bass synths as well. But I think you can, I mean, you could put the sub into there, but I don't know, it's just the way I've always done it, like that. So, hopefully that answers your question. Erwin asked, how do I write my drops? Response technique. I kind of try and match the intro so it doesn't like go off track kind of thing. So I'd say just like looking at the intro here, it's in an E key. So obviously I'd start by adding sub bass to that in an E key on the drop, and then just build like bass synths and obviously all your drums and that, and then just add vocal in there for flavour as well. I don't know. Yeah. Does that help you? Did that answer your question? Yeah. Good space. So, to be honest, I never went to school to learn like how to master and that. I just sort of do it by ear. If it sounds good, then it sounds good. But I'd say just like push all your main sounds to around 0, and just sort of like I add like a little bit of a change on the master, like this limiter, just like stop it from going crazy over the top, loud or too quiet. And I'll just add like a really simple boost to wherever I feel it sounds good, really. I'm not too sure, Justin, if you can use Maximus with Ableton. I've never used Ableton before. You might have to just look it up. I don't know the answer to that side now. But I suppose you could, I'm just using it as like a limiter tool. So you could probably use, if there's a limit, kind of like a limiter tool in Ableton, where you can just sort of like just like limit the top of it and boost the pre, so it like pushes the sound up just to get the loudness. Or you could just turn the volume of it up and see if it sounds good. For vocals fluxing in the background of the drop, how do you keep it out of the way of the main bass? Yeah, so Alex asked, when you have your vocals fluxing in the background of the drop, how do you keep it out of the way of the main bass? A good question. I don't know. I'll just do it by ear. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Like, there's not really any specific technique. I can show you. Like, it's just really faint in the background, so it's like it might clash with it. I don't know, but it sounds good. If it sounds good, it sounds good. So I'm self-taught, so I don't if it sounds good, it sounds good. Maybe just don't have it too loud over it, not too quiet. Yeah, remember, if you got any questions, just ask in the comments, guys. I can move on to the next track if you want. How do you maintain so much space in your mix? Good question. Just not pushing everything too hard and not adding too much in. But as you can see, happening here is not a lot. I'll take the drums off. There's not too much happening. That's, I guess, the way I'd explain that. So much space in the mix. I'm trying to answer this as best as possible. I'm not like music theory, so I'd say just keep things simple and so like just. Yeah. Do you want me to move on to the next track, guys? I'll open another track out one sec. Taking this track up. Yeah, Adam asks, is there a go-to process to get the vocals to mix well with the mix? I'll show you again in a sec, just the effects. I use sort of like the same effects on most tracks, maybe just adjusting the volume as a whole. Bear with me a second, I'm just opening a new project. Yeah, the best thing you can do here, guys, is if you've got any questions, just ask, and I'll try and answer them as best as possible, because I'm not the greatest teacher. Apologise. What VSTs do I use for the melodies? Bear with me. So yeah, like if I'm making melodies, I've just always used like Nexus for these. So, I don't just use like the standard sounds that come in them. I can make them in massive as well, but it's just an easier go-to. And I don't think this is too expensive as well. It's probably about $200, and you can add preset sounds in there for whatever. But yeah, this track is Need You by myself and Luca. And it's just sort of the same kind of process as my last track, like the simple intro, and then just like building up from that, adding the vocals in the same key, keeping the 808s in the same key, and obviously the vocals in the same key, and just like a slight build up to it. And then the same as the last track, I have like a suspense drop as well. And I sort of have that in a similar, like this part, having like a similar key to the intro. So it just all matches and fits together well. So it all sounds the same. And it's just like really simple. It's like not too much crazy stuff happening in this. And like some sounds, like I know it says that to go for 0 decibels or whatever, but like this here, it's too. It was too quiet when it was in 0, so I just put it up. It sounded good, and that's all it felt mad. As long as it didn't like was able to store or something crazy, it's usually pretty good. Yeah, any questions you got, guys? Go on to chat. Thanks for joining. Are your melodies stacked, or do you find a single sound and process it to the full point of being full? I can sort of show you, if I was to just use one sound, so just say use this, I'll make it from, I'll get like Nexus plugin up, and I like a lot of these like EDM sounds in here, so I'll just use these. If I was to just use one sound, I'd use like a really loud sort of, let's move this to, so like that's a big lead kind of sine wave sound, and I've just created this as my intro sort of preset, just sort of the same process as like using the vocals and that. Just put like OTT, and then I use Maximus again with that. And then obviously not too crazy loud or anything like that. I sort of just move it around until it's at sort of around -3, and not too crazy there, and it sort of just limits off at 3, so like that. But with sort of like softer melodies, we only like layering. Could do that as well. Just like add like less harsh sounds, and then maybe just bring like on here like down a bit, so it's not like overpowering if you're putting 2 melodies together or something. Sort of hard to explain. are their go-to process to get the vocals to mix well with the mix? So I usually use the same similar like process with each track, just to get them vocals standing out really well. So yeah, I use like this sort of like, I call it my preset standard sort of for this. So I'll take them off and this is how it sounds like. Just really flat and really sort of jumping all over the place kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's just a filter and have the OTT on, so just boost the depth there and slight bit of outgain. Just a chorus effect, just to give it that wide effect. Delay, just to make it like more full. So that, without that on, it sounds really, just sounds better with the delay on. Sometimes I use this just to sort of like EQ it easier. But most vocals don't need it. And then just matching this on there with a slight pre-boost and limited at 0. So yeah, out them effects. It just, to me, it doesn't sound right with the track. It hasn't got them effects on it. That's my preference. So I'll put them back on. Yeah. Hope that helps. When you open FL, do you have a template ready to go to? Yeah, it's sort of like all the tracks I've made in the past. I sort of like find good drum samples, and I usually just start off with like, I'll try and open one up for you. Like sometimes I can make them from scratch, so it all doesn't sound like the same work all the time, but I do have a preset. So I don't really use this much, but if you're sort of like stuck, it's sort of a quick way to start something, I guess. Just bear me a sec while this loads up. And just in this, it's just like my collection of like good drum samples that are my favourite that I found. It's just like my favourite drums and stuff I've used.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Just like arranged in this sort of the same structures I'd start the majority of the track. And I sort of have these all leveled out as well. Right. But I sort of like, as I progressed working from that, I would change stuff in there, like, so like maybe a different clap if this didn't sound right with the track or something. And then I have like layers. And then this is just from an old track that I made. Just all my like favourite drums. That's how I'd like put together a structured track. And I guess I can just probably maybe show you. I'm just going to select something random on it, I think. So I put so like, I'll just build something like this, like a standard melody, like something like that. Sure. So like just something like that. And then maybe you could like layer it with something else. I'll just move it into a second bus as well. Oops. And then the intro again. And just sort of like whatever sounds good to me, I'll just go with that. So, and then yeah, I'll just like build from that, and then I might, take away this and maybe add it to something that sounds a little bit better with that, and then maybe a different kick, like drag one in there or something. And I would always like take these off the master and route them to the pre-master, so I could do my side change. I'll just create an automation clip as you do. Why is it not coming? Oh, 1 second. Yeah, so I'd route everything to sort of this like pre-master something. Just limit it off, so nothing too crazy going through it. Yeah, create side chain and everything. Just something simple like that. See where that goes. Just like makes the drums stand out on that. And yeah, I'll just build a track from that, add vocals in the same key. It's really simple. Do I use gross beat? Yeah, gross beat's good for like the end bit. I'll see if I can find. I think the new FL is updated, so you might have to think. But I usually just. I haven't used this for a long time, but Yeah, this is generally big calm actually. I usually used to like make it like a slope at the end, so just like everything would dip down. But I found it kind of messes with the master. Like some bit all of a sudden goes too loud, and yeah, I don't really use that much anymore. So, any tips on the layering basses? Let me open something else. Open this track. Guys, you got any questions, just ask in the comments because I'm a terrible teacher. I'm sorry. Spare me, this is loading up, take forever. Yeah, so this is just another track I've worked on recently. Show you the intro. I'm just going to answer the question of any tips for layering basses. So I'll let this play and then I'll show you it. So this is just like another, it sounds like there's a lot happening, but it's just really simple. Yeah, just to answer the question about layering bass and then bass sims. I might have explained this earlier, but just, I usually separate the bass, like the sub bass, obviously there. Just add like a little bit of distortion on it, and on this track I've just taken it off, like a complete cut off as 200, so it's just that low end, and then I'll add in bass sim, which is sort of like almost bricked off at 200, but then I'll just give it like a little mid-range, just to sort of, so it's not like clashing, but it's like a layered well, it sounds layered well. I hope that's the simplest way I'd do it. Hopefully that helps you answer your question. These are just the side effects. And this is just massive again. There's just so many crazy sounds you can get out of massive. So I need to start using the serum a lot more often. But yeah. Small forward there. And yeah, with this track it's like really simple. I'm just, all that's happening in like vocal wise behind it is just like a simple like and then yeah, just sort of like melody happening at the end, just to like break that section out. When creating a track, do you go with the idea of a theme? It's like I said, I just started off really simple as like just adding like some really simple melody. Just if I something naughty would be like just like, you know, something like that, and then I'd add like a I'll just show you one sec. This intro. So yeah, I just like have all the sort of like drum pattern effects behind it, and then just drawing something really simple around EF. I mean any key. I try not to go too high and too low. I just sort of keep it around the middle here. So like do an F here. So. And everything in the track would be structured off of that simple melody. So. So then I'd add a second melody built off of that same key. Just something like that. And then maybe just like switch it up a little bit at the end. So just something to like just make it more interesting, I guess. The processing I use off the drums are just like so a lot of these are like my favourite samples that I've collected that are all sort of pre-mastered, so I don't usually need to change them. But I'd always just throw something simple in there, like just limiting it and boosting it, just get that sound to stand out a bit. Yeah. Any more questions? Ask. Yeah. Play this again. How much time do I spend on the track? Depends on like there's a lot of the tracks I make really simple. Some of the best tracks I've ever made probably are made just in that creative time, about 2 hours. But some tracks I can spend days on, just like trying to perfect it, just like doing it sound really good. So, like this particular remix track I did, probably spent about 2 days on it. First I had it all like structured out and everything, and then just next week just like messing around with it and just getting it to sound to how I want it to sound, but not going overboard and changing too much, because that's when I'll mess it up. But yeah, like the best tracks I've really made for about 2 hours. can show you an unreleased track, maybe.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
This one. So at the moment I'm working on an EP, so yeah, I'll show you guys this. How do you approach your arrangement? When to start your bass fills? Are there any techniques that will always work? I'd say like make the drop obviously in the same key as the intro, and I wouldn't make a track in 2 hours and just release it there and then. I'd listen back to it the next day just to make like your ears refreshed, and then just make sure it sounds like good, because when your ears are refreshed you can identify stuff that don't sound right. Yeah, this is just a track. I'm working on an EP.
I've been getting money with a fucking bid. Up in outer space, chillin' with some tans. Catch me on the fly, look inside my eyes. Alien shit till the day I fucking die.
And I just have like minimal effects going on here, like. And just like these layered together, filtered in on the build up. Yeah, my best advice for like technique is just keep it real simple and sort of try and tie everything in so it sounds the same, if that makes sense. So like this, so this starts in F. This drop key is in F. Like, that's sort of like my main best way of explaining like how to make the drop sound the same. Yeah, guys, if you got any more questions, ask, because I'm trying to answer them as best as possible. Yeah, this, back to the question of how long do I usually spend on a track, like this particular track, I spent a little bit longer on because I was just trying to make it really good for the I would say about 4 days on this. So like the structure and everything was built in the first like couple of hours. Just like tweaking everything. And I'm using sort of the same vocal processing techniques on this as I showed you in the other tracks. This singer's Chase, so it's not Spice vocals. Yo, cheers. Thank you. Just like simple ad-libs. Yeah, I might have to change that. No. Could just like stretch, just to make it fun. Cheers, Ryan. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in this one. I can show you an old track, how I used to make music. Cause I sort of learned from just downloading FL Studio and just start figuring it out. This is crazy. So I made this track in the piano roll, not even in the playlist bar. So this is one old track with Boogie 2. This is just like how I first learned how to make music, and then someone showed me how to make it in playlists. So definitely made it a bit cooler. Yeah, this is crazy. These are sort of like my older bass synths used in Massive as well. Just really raw sounding, and yeah, just a great. It's all over the place. It's Any more questions, guys? What's one thing you wish you knew earlier about producing? Like I've just shown you there, I made like that track. Took hours and hours scrolling back and forth in the piano roll, and it was really like it was just I don't know, it just took like days and maybe weeks just to make a single track. But when someone showed me how to do it in the playlist, it just made stuff so much quicker, even the automating, etc. I'll try and answer some more questions on that line. I'd say as well, like sort of like I've only recently sort of started to learn about like actual sound design mastering wise, and what to do and not what to do, and I find just if it sounds good, it sounds good obviously, but just sort of like not cranking things too crazy like that, you know. Yeah. What do you do when you're feeling? Yeah. So what do I do when I'm feeling creatively blocked? like I said, I'd probably jump if I'm really struggling with making the track from scratch, like opening the project as a blank. I'd probably go to like my preset folder and just sort of build off of there some really simple melody. If I'm completely stuck, I don't know, probably something to do with lifestyle. So maybe just try and refresh yourself. Your surroundings in the studio, like just light, or I don't know, special, whatever like makes you calm and feel refreshed, basically. Maybe have a shower or something. I don't know. But yeah, I usually do get it. And yeah, if I'm feeling like creatively blocked, I'll just try and do something really simple, not something too complex. Do I usually work on multiple songs at the same time, or do you try to finish one and then go to your next? I try not to like have too many projects going on at the same time, because then I feel it feels like messy and confusing, and I'd rather just stick to like one, get that finished, and then jump into the next track. But I have done in the past, and it's not been a problem. So. Sick. Ask any more questions, guys. What are some common mistakes you hear from producers when you get demos? I'd assume that's like the label I run. I don't know, most of the tracks that come through I'm pretty happy about. I'd say, I mean, it's down to each person's taste, I guess, but I'd say like mixing and mastering, make sure it's like the right volume is probably the most common one. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I get sent sounds pretty good and I release or give feedback for. Better mix. Well, guys, I'm super tired as well. I've been I was just flown from US to England, so I'm sort of jet lagged and doing this for you guys. So yeah, help me out, ask me some more questions. How would you make how would you make a bass? Can we see real quick? Yeah. Sorry, bear with me a second, this takes ages to load. Do you mean sub bass or bass synth? I'll probably show you both. Bass synth. I'll just open this again, sorry. spare me while there's loads. So. So yeah, I usually like sine waves, and then obviously the effects I add to it makes the most of the difference and changes the sound. But so yeah, just something like really, it's just so simple, like sine wave, and then just adding. And I would cycle through, like, if you guys don't use Massive, it's gonna be no help, but I'd just like cycle through, you know. And you can add like. Rest in peace headphones. Probably just like something really simple like that, but it's all the effects that I throw onto it. So without these effects, it just sounds a bit sort of like really standard. And then I do like Disperser. If you guys haven't got it, download it. It's good. Just makes it sound a little bit more wobbly, the bass synths. And obviously that's just like EQ and harsh. That's just a filler. And then I'll just add this, just add a hyper dimension effect, just if I'm not using my, yeah, it's just like really simple. Like when I'm making the actual tracks, I'll just cycle through and change these like to what sounds right to the actual track, and then just add like. And yeah, just add on to it, and yeah, hopefully that helps. What are some tips you wish I've already answered? Do you make same patch to keep code? I mean, like once I made like a good synth from this, I'll just save it. I have like, I'll try and find it. So I'm a bit slow with this. Presets massive. So like yeah, if I make like my really favorite bass synth from Massive, I'll save it. So like that. And then if I wanted to add something else, I just like if I wanted it to all sound as similar, not the same, I just like clone it and then just just make some kind of adjustment. So like that. Or just make one from like scratch again, but yeah, I always like save my favorite sort of presets. Any more questions you got, guys? Just ask. I'll answer them to the best I can. But yeah, I think Massive's got to be my favourite tool.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Once I got that, when I first started making music, it was good to go. It's nasty. Any advice on sounding unique? I guess just open Massive, open Serum, or whatever you prefer to use. Start with a new sound, and whatever sounds like you make should be unique. Like, I don't know. Try not to like copy, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe it's just like using Massive. Not a lot of people use Massive, I guess. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I just love those crazy sounds that come out of it. Nasty. Yeah, like when I'd insert that on the drop as well, obviously like just try and tune it to how it sounds good. If that makes sense. There's just so many things in Massive you can do that I like it a lot. The screechy sustain layer. Could probably make it from this. Something like that. Yeah, there's just like, I feel like there's endless sounds you can make with this Massive. Any more questions? Ask. I'll try and like draw something. Can you show us without the post-processing? Yeah, I'll just draw this in and I'll show you. One sec. It sounds really terrible, sorry. Let me just open it. So yeah, this is with all like the processing on. If I just take it all off, just almost sounds like just really flat sounds. Yeah. yeah, you can just hear the difference when I put it, you know. And then I'd usually do like automation on this. That's why I love disperser. Like, get rid of that. You know, just adding effects. You know, just adding crazy effects, and then it makes like a big change to the actual original. With the drums, I don't really put. I mean, this is a preset folder, so it's like, well, taking them from the past and on this. But like with just drums, I don't know. Say if it was too crazy loud or something like that, and I just add something really simple like Maximus. And yeah, you can just turn up the, you know, I don't know. That's how I do that. If you want to, like, I don't know, it's just a trick. Any more questions? Let's try again. Guys, I hope you're feeling great. I know I'm not. I'm actually tired, shattered from a long flight. So I have 12 hours of flying and doing this. It's great. Yeah, I guess like the best sort of like rule I could give you, or the technique, is just keep everything simple, but not too not too simple. Like just not a lot of crazy stuff happening. You know? Like it sounds like there's a lot happening here, but it's really not. You know, just really simple production. And the same with like the giraffe. Remember keeping them like the same keys and stuff. I'm sorry I'm not like the best teacher, but that's some of the best advice I can give you. And like I said, your questions, I can answer any questions, you know. And yeah, like if you guys want to ask any questions after this live stream, inbox me, I'll check it. I always answer anything I can help you with. And also sometimes what I'll do as well is say like, I want to make sure it sounds like the intro sounds matching with the drop. I'll be like, you know, just like skip it around and see what's happening, you know. So got a little opening bit. Yo, thank you, Erwin and Ryan. I hope it does happen, guys. Hopefully I can do more of these in the future as well for you, if I don't have anything else. Alright guys, yeah, like I said, I'm going to end this now, but if you have any questions that you didn't ask in the stream, don't hesitate to inbox me and I'll answer them the best I can, alright? Peace out.